Namaskar, I'm Ashok Vyas, and today in this week with Padma Shri Dr. Sudhir Parikh, we have a lot to catch up, lot to cover. So let me, without spanning even one more second, have the pleasure of welcoming Padma Shri Dr. Sudhir Parikh. Dr. Sahab, namaste, welcome.
Namaskar, namaskar.
So let us begin by your take on the recent visit, High Delegation, Defense Secretary and Secretary of State from USA visiting India, and the recent declaration of America's support for India. Your analysis of this visit.
Well, I mean, we knew all along that Trump administration always for protecting India's interest, because this is a kind of U.S.-India relation. This type of the U.S.-India relation, both country wants it, and particularly USA wants it, because that only way USA can balance or counterbalance China's might, as well as China's interference, as well as Russia's interference in the Southeast Asia. So I think this is very expected move by the Trump administration, and I'm very pleased that Modi government has accepted this move.
And with this visit, once again, America has shown its support and solidarity with India, especially to counter aggressive Chinese stand. Do you see this coming with some sort of a political ramification for USA also, especially because we are so close to a presidential election?
Yes, there is always ramification, because this may kind of influence at least Indian American voters here, because this shows very clearly that Trump administration is helping the government of India during their crisis situation. So of course there might be some impact on the how the Indian American will vote.
Absolutely. And you have also voted early, and President Trump has also voted early. This early voting, do you look at it as going in favor of Republicans or Democrat, or either way, or it doesn't matter?
Well, there's no way to say that we're going in whose favor. But I think both it may help both the party, but depends upon the which parties or which organization has ability to mobilize their supporter. Whoever mobilizes the supporter better, they will benefit out of it.
Doctor, there is one Biden supporter, Mr. Bantwal, based in New Jersey, I believe, who is tracking the social media trends, and he has come up with various WhatsApp fake messages, as Biden team claims. How do you look at this potential use of fake news through social platforms like WhatsApp or maybe Facebook, etc., making any significant dent on either of the candidates' favor?
Well, I mean, this kind of social media news, whether it's a fake news or true news, does affect any election. And therefore, I think social media needs to be more regulated, should be more liable for the fake news, and then it can solve the problem, because it can affect either party or both the parties,
Absolutely. And the way things are moving, I think we haven't spoken after the fourth presidential debate. President Trump was quite subdued in his style in the fourth debate, was general observation about his performance. How do you see overall, who would you look at as winner from the fourth presidential debate?
I think President was more presidential in this debate, and that's why I think he came out much better than last debate. And I think probably President won the debate overall, because Biden Vice President Biden was very fumbling time to time, and it was stuttering time to time, and that shows that. And he was watching, looking at his watch, as if he wants to finish this debate sooner than later, and all those signs. Body language is not good body language for anyone who is debating on the in the public.
So I think that's a very interesting sort of analysis of the body language of Joe Biden, presidential candidate from Democratic Party, and overall, the general impression now is that um, Biden is becoming more aggressive in his expressions on various platforms. And they are again and again attacking President Trump on his not very efficient handling of COVID-19. That seems to have become a key area for attack at the moment. Do you see that substantially affecting the potential perception of President Trump to be
Well,
second term president?
Well, in my opinion, whatever way the Trump has, or President Trump has dealt with the COVID situation, it's an old story. Everyone has already made up their mind on that subject. So now, at this stage, I think that's why if you look at the President Trump's public rally, he talks about economics and the job and those kind of things. So I think probably that will take him to the finish line better than defending himself what he did in the COVID situation. Because COVID situation, they have done whatever they have done, good, bad, or ugly, uh, uh, but it's done now. And so now we have to move forward rather than keep hashing the same subject. And I think more leftist media, they are keep talking about the mask. I think that everybody knows that mask is very important and very essential to prevent this infection. But by just keep talking about the one subject does not take you far away. People usually turn it off the channel because of they are not getting any new news out of that.
Absolutely. And I think talking about the new approach, a mayor of New York, Bloomberg, who is a billionaire himself, entrepreneur, and he in the previous election had said that I know a con man when I see one. In spite of such harsh critical expressions, what happened we have seen. But this time around also, Bloomberg has pumped in $15 million in the last week of presidential race in Texas and Ohio to support Biden. How do you see this development, and what makes some people so passionate to work against the possibility of Trump coming back?
Well, we don't know the real truth, but it could be uh, uh, Bloomberg's belief in the leftist or Biden's agenda, or it could be some kind of personal agenda. We do not know, and there is no way to give the opinion. But since he's contributing $50 billion, you say 50 million or billion? Billion. So that shows that he believes in Biden's agenda, and I think he has a right to do that, and he can afford to do that, and that's good thing that he does it. But we don't know that makes how much difference in the voting pattern.
In general, Hindu American community, as you have earlier in our shows shared, that they are divided in both sides. Yet many Hindu Americans are supportive of President Trump's approach towards India, overall his friendship with Prime Minister Modi, and there are many voices, even Indian American women's voices from New Jersey also coming up in support of Trump. And this recent visit of Secretary of State and Defense Secretary to India has also strengthened their conviction that Trump is the right choice. Um, where would you see? Is there any significant sort of impact which Hindu American community can make? Being in New Jersey, you are aware that there are many active and loud voices in support of Trump in New Jersey.
Well, I mean, I don't know whether you know that I'm kind of one of the senior advisor to American Hindu community who believes in political club. So I think we know that it's a fact that Trump administration is more pro-India, at least in the current situation. And therefore, if any Indian American, I mean, helps or supports the President Trump's election, uh, that is well and good. But I'm sure there are quite a large number of Indian American just support the Vice President Biden's campaign. So I think both are good because as a community, I strongly believe that we must support both the parties. You cannot be on one-sided because to protect our own interests, the selfish interests of the community, we must support both the parties. That way we have access to both the parties in the future.
So this is a very interesting line of thinking, I would say. But what you are saying is what we are seeing also for multiple reasons. And if you look at the Harvard University's Institute of Politics, they have said more and more young American adults are going to vote in 2020. And as per their reading, more young voters are in favor of Biden. Do you somewhere, as a sort of a hunch, agree with their declaration of
I
young?
think I agree with them because we all know there is a saying in the English. So when you are in 20s, you are socialist. When you are 40s, you become realistic, and when you are in 60s, you are capitalist. So it's not surprise their conclusion is well known that always young people are more idealistic, more socialist than older people, and therefore I'm not surprised that if young population votes for Biden campaign, that is probably is expected.
So that is another interesting, I would say, conclusion that you have shared. As we grow with maturity, our approach and our
Changes.
political inclination also changes. So
Changes.
one would say, going by what I heard from you just now, that more mature people are in support of Trump. That is the other way of looking at it. But considering where we are at this moment, anything that can harm either candidate is uh, sort of of interest for the other party. So we were given the news today that a lady who filed a case against President Trump with rape charges, she got some sort of a favorable reception, call it, or that is being considered so by the judges. And so not getting into the whole detail, but these kind of things come up just before election. Um, is it even serious in terms of people who accuse and come up with these cases?
I don't think the timing is not correct, and if timing is so kind of coincidental, then people don't believe it. On the contrary, if it is true, then it's disservice to the person. So, and this kind of thing never affects the election, as we know. In 2016, a couple of weeks before the election, a lot of Hollywood tape and video came out against the Trump, and still he won. So that shows that as election comes closer, usually the conventional wisdom is that people always pay attention to their pocketbook and wallet and see whether they are employed or not employed. What are the possibility of getting employed? Who will employ more, and who will do help economics day-to-day family situation or financial situation, whether it is employment or taxes or what. So that's only the reason. Unless there is some unknown large event happens, usually people vote on their wallet.
Absolutely. And that makes sense. And just as we conclude, two more points, and I'll come back to economy. But before that, President Trump's Supreme Court nominee, Amy Coney Barrett, was confirmed. And here's another conservative Supreme Court judge now. Credit goes to President Trump. Do you see this also has some political ramifications?
Yeah, there is a political ramification because those who are conservative in thinking, or those who believe in that court has to follow the constitution line by line or word by word, I think for those people, I think this appointment is very important, and probably they may vote for President Trump because they got what they believe in it.
So finally, as you mentioned, wallet plays an important role. On that front, in this show, you have earlier mentioned that Democrats are more inclined towards socialism, and overall market has done well under President Trump. So keeping that in mind, your final remarks and your kind of guess in terms of who is going to reach White House.
Well, I mean, it's very close election. Let me tell you, closer than what polls are showing. So it's very close election. It's kind of anyone's guess, particularly because this is not election won by popular votes. If it is popular votes, then Biden will have easy time to win. But it is not popular vote. Even if he wins, he gets 10 million more votes. Doesn't mean anything. So it all depends upon the electoral votes and electoral numbers, and that's those states are very close. They all are in the margin of error, kind of 4-5%, and therefore it's anyone's guess who will win. But let me quote: I was listening to one TV show, and there was CNBC, and there was one guest called Michael Moore. Yes, who has predicted in 2016 when everybody was saying that, particularly CNBC and those kind of mainstream media was saying that Hillary Clinton winning is sure, more or less done deal. And that time he was telling that Trump will win. And yes, when I heard him a couple of days ago, the anchor person asked him that last time you were correct, so what do you predict now? So he said that probably Trump will win. That was his prediction, because he thinks that in Midwest states, probably they will pull through. And so it will not be surprised if Trump wins, according to Michael Moore. I'm not saying it. I'm just
What do you say? What do you say?
Huh?
What do you say?
I'm just saying it. It's very close election.
Got it.
It's anybody's chance to win. It all depends upon their organization, whether a Democratic organization or Republican organization, how they mobilize their voters. If Democrat thinks that, okay, Biden is going to win and they don't go and vote, then I think Biden will be in trouble. The same thing applies to the Trump.
Absolutely.
And therefore, I think anyone who take it granted may lose. So that's my opinion. That let's wait and watch.
Makes a lot of sense. And your final words for our viewers from today's show.
Well, I mean, as I said, that thanks for joining us. Really, I must say that voting is our rights. We have this right only once every 4 years. So please vote. Please vote of your choice, a candidate of your choice. Please vote what you believe in it, but vote. And that's only way the democracy can survive. And we all should do to make democracy get better and stronger. So thank you for joining us. God bless America. God bless India. And God bless democracy. Thank you.